Hi everyone, my name is Chloe and today I'm here to do my July wrap up. So if you watch my channel, you know I'm kind of OCD about getting things out like right at the beginning of the month, and this month it just isn't going to happen. So it's coming on the 5th. I hope you'll hang in with me. As you can see, I have a baby on right now, and just physically sitting down by myself in a non-vlog fashion is really hard for me right now. Like there's just always somebody needing something, and so I hope you guys will bear with me on this one. It's a little messy, but here we go. So in July, I read a total of 24 books, and I was pretty pleased with that because I feel pretty slumpy, but 24 is not terrible. I'm definitely not reading a book a day like I was before this one came, because she is definitely getting more of a personality and more needs. She's kind of getting out of the blob stage, and so read a little less, but that's okay. So the star breakdown is as follows. I had 2 2-stars, 1 2.5 star, 9 3-stars, 4 3.5 stars, and 8 4-stars. So I had a fair amount of 4 stars, which were really good. And overall, it was a 3.3 average rating, but I felt like it was a better month than that. And I was a little slumpy, but I felt like what I was reading was generally pretty good. So that's good. Let's just start. So like I do every month, I'm going to talk about them in the order that I read them, and I'll tell you kind of what vlog I read it in, and so if you want to hear more of my in-depth thoughts, you can go to that vlog. So I started the month doing a NetGalley reads because I had a lot on my NetGalley shelf and I needed to get through them. So the first 2 that I read were for Christmas and Julyathon, which is a readathon I hosted. I will link the announcement or something down below. And so I read Christmas at Carly's Cupcakes, and I gave that one 4 stars. That is about 2 sisters. One owns this cupcake shop, but is just out of luck with love. She doesn't have any love life. The other one has the love life and this wonderful boyfriend, but she's just kind of a bull in a china shop. And so it's the older sister trying to help the younger sister get her life together and also do something for herself. Then the next one was Christmas at the Chocolate Pot Cafe, which is in the same series. Those were books like 6 and 7 in the series, but you don't need to read them in order. They are just companion series. So like you get the next one is about Carly's best friend, and so it may be helpful to read all of them if you want to know everybody's story, but you definitely don't need to. And I fell in love with this little town. It's Castle Street, has all these different shops, so it's got the cupcake shop, the chocolate shop, and I really liked it. So I would like to read all of the series, but it's not necessary. So this one, like I said, is about her best friend Tara. She has a whole bunch of like deep-seated familial issues. She has an ex-husband that have a lot of issues. I gave this one 3 stars and thought it just wasn't as great because there's almost no Christmas, and it has been re-released as Starry Skies Over the Chocolate Pot Cafe. And I think that is a much better name because Christmas at the Chocolate Pot Cafe was really misleading. So I thought that one was 3 stars. It was very dark, very deep. Not very deep, but like it just wasn't what I was wanting. So especially after reading Christmas at Carly's Cupcakes. Then I read Another Woman's Child, and this one is about a woman who her best friend dies and asks her to take in her 17-year-old son. And so she does, despite her husband and her daughter being very opposed to it. And so it's her trying to figure out how to incorporate this boy into their life and take care of him while taking care of her family. And her family is all white. This boy is mixed. And so there's a lot of race talked about in this book, and I don't think it was done really well. I gave this 3 stars. I don't know if I've said that. I don't like, there's a lot of racism that is blatant, and she kind of talks about it, but she never like confronts it or does enough about it, in my opinion. I also thought the way grief was handled was not as great as it could be. The 17-year-old was going through it pretty much alone, and I just really would have liked to see more support for this kid. And then also there's a big twist at the end, and I guessed it at 14%, so it wasn't a great twist, but I still enjoyed the reading experience. Overall, I would still recommend it. So then I read Louisiana Lucky. This one is about 3 sisters, I think, and they once a month get together and they buy a lottery ticket and then watch the lottery. And one time they actually win. And so we just get to see all of their lives as they deal with all this new change and new money. And I gave that one 4 stars. I thought it was really fun. There's definitely flaws. Some of them are kind of silly, not great with money. I don't know how realistic the whole situation is, but overall I enjoyed it. Then I read Someone Like You. This one is about a girl who finds out that she is a IVF baby, and she was born from a donor embryo. So her mom and dad are not her biological mom and dad. There was somebody else's sperm and egg, and it was put in her mother, and so that was that. And she is really upset by that because she's like 22 when she's finding out. However, I did not like at all how they were saying like her parents were not her parents. And I think you grow the child, you raise the child, that is your child. And the embryo donor did not want anything to do with her. She does go find them and it's fine, but like, I don't know. This was also written by Karen Kingsbury, which is a Christian fiction author. So there is some mention of faith. I would say if you're not a Christian, it does get kind of heavy-handed at times. But overall, I gave it 4 stars. I still really enjoyed it. Just as someone who struggles with fertility, I wish there was a little bit more sensitivity done on that. Then I read Little Disasters. This one I gave 3 stars. It is about this kind of town where there's like PTA moms, and one of them, the like star mom, this girl who's just got it all together, she brings in her baby to the ER, and another one is a doctor in the ER, so she sees this happen. She brings in the baby. She's got like a cracked skull, something going on, and the mom is super mysterious about what's going on. So the whole time we're trying to figure out what happened to this baby. Is this mom doing something to her children? What's going on? So that one, like I said, 3 stars. It was okay. Then I did a Christina Lauren binge. And so I had read Love and Other Words, and that was it by Christina Lauren. So I decided to binge the 4 books that I had on my shelf, and here's what I thought. So the first one I read was Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. I gave this 4 stars. I'm not going to go into too much depth about what these books are about because everybody knows them, but this is a friends to lovers. I thought Hazel was very quirky, but not overly annoying as other people think. I really like their friends to lovers relationship. It's kind of second chance, but not really, because they didn't have a relationship at first. They were just friends, and then they come back into each other's lives. Really liked it. Then the Unhoneymooners, I gave 3.5 stars. I didn't like it quite as much as Josh and Hazel, but I still really enjoyed it. This one is about a wedding where everybody gets sick except the maid of honor and the best man, and so they go on the honeymoon together, and they don't really like each other, but it's not really hate to love. It's more just like they didn't know each other well enough, so they were both kind of meh about each other, and so there's all sorts of funny things that happen. Both of those books, I laughed out loud. Then Twice in a Blue Moon, guys, I gave it 2 stars. I just didn't like it at all. Nothing. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it. Then The Honey Don't List, 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed that one too. It is kind of a spin on Chip and Joanna Gaines. It's their assistants, both their relationship, and I really wanted to see more of the Chip and Joanna Gaines couple and what's going on in their relationship, but you don't really get that. And I thought it was really good. It kind of got me thinking, like, my wondering mind is always like, I wonder if they are as perfect as they seem, because this book, the couple is not. So I don't know. Interesting. Then I had a couple days where I just read whatever. So I read The Snow Bride and Mail Order Bride by Debbie McComber. They were in a bind-up, and they were both marketed, like the bind-up was Christmas in Alaska, I think. And I gave The Snow Bride 3 stars and Mail Order Bride 2 stars. I read those also for Christmas and Julyathon, and I didn't care for them at all. They're both, like, The Snow Bride is about this girl who is going to somewhere in Alaska to meet this guy that she met online. And so she has to go to like Anchorage or somewhere and then take a tiny plane to where he lives. Well, there's snow, blah, blah, blah. This other guy has to take her to the small town, and she says who she's going to meet, and he says, no, you're not. And he takes her to his small town. And I just didn't like how, like, the women are in both of these stories are so manipulated and, like, have no voice. And it's just, I, like, didn't like it. Because The Mail Order Bride is about a girl who her great aunts or something match her up, like, make her a mail order bride, send her to Alaska to be with this guy. She gets there, and it's like a wedding ceremony, and she's just like, okay, Like, who does that? I would be like, no. So I didn't like how, like, manipulated the women were and how just passive they were. And there's virtually no Christmas in either book. So that just, like, makes me salty when something is, like, advertised as a Christmas book and there's no Christmas. I'm like, come on, guys. So then I also read books 1 and 2 in Lindsay Kelk's I Heart series, because I knew I wanted to read book 3 for the reading rush. So I read I Heart New York and I Heart Hollywood. I gave I Heart New York 4 stars, and then I Heart Hollywood 3 stars. I liked the idea. In I Heart New York, this girl, she lives in London. She walks in on her fiance cheating on her, and so she's like, I'm out. And so she drops everything, just randomly goes to New York, meets this girl in the hotel, and they become friends, and she ends up staying in New York. So that is that story. And then I Heart Hollywood, the same girl goes, she gets a job in Hollywood, like a temporary job. So she goes to Hollywood for a week, a month, I don't know how long, and does this job. And the series is just kind of going downhill for me. So I am very interested. I know Tia from Tia and All the Books is currently reading the series, I think. And I really want to know somebody else who's read it. Does it get better? Because I'm on book 4 now, and it's just kind of 3 stars max. But anyway, so then I did the reading rush, and that I read I Heart Paris. I gave that another 3 stars. And this one, the girl goes to Paris with her boyfriend for a reason, and it's kind of hard to talk about because, of course, it's the 3rd in the series. So then I read The Mistletoe Secret by Richard Paul Evans, and this was also for the Christmas and Julyathon, and this one is about a man who reads this blog, and the woman who, like, runs the blog, she's talking about how lonely she is and loneliness in general. He can so relate, and she just uses her initials. And so he decides to go where she is and find this woman, but all he has to go on are her initials. So he is trying to find this woman. He makes friends with this girl in a diner, and she kind of helps him. And I just really liked the story. It was very cute, very quick. Loved it. There is some Christmas in it, but very, very little. It is also a book that I think you could read anytime. Then I read Pay It Forward, and that, if you've seen the movie, you probably know the story. I saw the movie when I was, like, young, and I can't remember details of it. I gave it 4 stars, except I have a salty point in this one, too. In the book, the teacher is black, and in the movie, the teacher is Kevin Spacey. So that is annoying. I hate when things get whitewashed, but that's not the book's problem, I don't think. I mean, I don't think she had any input in that, maybe. I don't know. But this one is about a little boy. He's like 10 or 12, and he gets the like social studies homework extra credit to come up with a plan to make the world better. So he comes up with this concept of paying it forward, where you do something nice for 3 people, those 3 people do something nice for 3 people, etc., and then the world is just a better place. And so it works. It catches on. We get to see the progression of that, like going from idea to reality. And the little boy has just got a heart of gold, and I loved it. And, like, for me, as a mom of 2 girls, I'm like, how do I make my girls be compassionate like that and be empathetic and be kind? And this book didn't necessarily teach me that, but it was really nice to see this little boy who had such kindness in his heart. Then I read Evie Drake Starts Over. This one I really enjoyed too. It is about a woman who she is divorced. She gets divorced, and then her best friend, she's got a male best friend, and he's got a friend who is in the Major League Baseball. He was a Major League Baseball player, and he gets injured. Well, he's got this thing called the yips, and so he can't pitch anymore, so he is needing to just go hide out somewhere. So he rents this woman's like guest house. And so it's their relationship. I really liked it. There's a lot of baseball in it. And you guys, I am a sports fan at heart. I love baseball. I have 3 brothers that played. And then I also was like road crew in high school. A bunch of us girls, just anytime we could, we were all there for all games of every sport. And so I just have a long history of baseball. If it's a baseball romance, I love it. The things I didn't like about this book were that their conflict happens kind of abruptly, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, it does, but it just wasn't done well. The first half was 5 stars for me. The second half kind of went downhill. So 4 stars overall. Still really enjoyed it. Then I read The Vineyard by Barbara Delinsky. and I gave that 2.5 stars. It's just about this vineyard and the family history of everybody that runs it and works on it, a bunch of different relationships going on. I almost DNF'd it, but I pushed through and I gave it 2.5 stars. Then Love Lives Here by Maria Goff. This is a nonfiction about Maria and Bob Goff. They are both Christian speakers, and it's just like little anecdotes and things about her life and how she sees God in her life and lessons she's learned from things that are good or bad going on in her life. And I liked it, but I felt like the analogies were strong in this one. Like everything that happened had an analogy to faith or religion or something. I do feel like this one was good if you don't have a huge like Bible knowledge. There's not like direct scripture. It's just her talking about faith. And so I liked that part, but I feel like she was stretching and making analogies where there maybe weren't any just to fit her story. And like the story stopped as soon as the analogy stopped. She didn't like tell the whole story. And so 3.5 stars, still enjoyed it and got some motivation and like inspiration to live my life with God more actively involved. Then I read The Fragile World, and this one was really sad. It is about a family who they have 2 kids, a boy who's like the golden child, and then a girl who is gothic, kind of rebellious. She's really just insecure. And the boy dies in a freak kind of hit and run accident. And so then it's just watching this family fall apart. I mean, the dad is a teacher, and the girl is obviously got already insecurity issues. The mom can't cope, and it's just their story. And it read really quick. The experience was okay, but it was just really sad. So 3 stars. Yeah, it was just really a story of grief. Then I read What You Wish For by Katherine Center. I gave this one 3.5 stars. I love Katherine Center, but this was probably my least favorite that I've read so far. I don't know. Maybe. It's not a bad book. I just love Katherine Center so much. I went into it wanting a 5-star, and that's not what I got. But this one is about a girl who she is a school librarian in an elementary school, and I love that. And this guy that she used to have this huge crush on comes back into her life. So when she met him, she was teaching with him, and he was this fun, quirky, crazy teacher, and she loved it. Like, she just had this huge crush on him, but he was with somebody else. I think he gets engaged or something, so she knows it's not going to happen. Well, then they part ways, and he comes back, and he is the principal at the school, and he has done a 180 completely. He's like super strict, wants to make everything gray and dull and take away all fun. And so the things I didn't like about this book were that his personality descriptions were so polar opposite that it made it really hard to believe. He does have a reason for why he like got so hardened and cold and strict, but I just felt like the extremes were a little too much. And yeah, I loved the description. She works in a library, like I said, and the description of that library makes me want to be there right now. I loved it. And as a teacher, it really, like, I don't know if you guys know, but my degree is in education, and I like right now, especially this August time, our kids are supposed to start school August 12th, and then I got pushed a little bit, but this time of the year always gets me like so excited for school and hearing about the school, and then also knowing how different things are going to be. It was just a really interesting thing to read right now, and I really enjoyed it. Then I read The Other Side of the Story by Marian Keyes, and I gave this one 3 stars, although I feel like that's kind of generous. This one is about 3 different women, I think. 2 write books. 1 is a literary agent. They're all connected in different ways. It was just overly long, uninteresting in a lot of ways, but also had some good points, so 3 stars. And then finally is The Perfect Neighbor by Neighbors by Sarah Pekkanen. This one is about, again, kind of like an HOA community with a bunch of moms, and they all have different secrets. And so one of them moves into town, and it seems like the whole story is going to be like what's going on with her, because she's very closed off, very like shy, and doesn't give a whole lot of herself. And we know something big happened in her past, but we find out what that thing is. And I wanted like an additional twist or something, and it just didn't come. Like, they all have secrets, and hers is just one of the secrets. She is more focused on than the other 2 or 3. I can't remember how many, but it's not the same story. Like, I was really thinking, okay, her big thing would be revealed, and then at the end, something would come back and be another big thing, and it just didn't happen. Like, her reveal is just a little more serious than everybody else's. So that is everything I read in July. If you have read any of these books, let me know what you thought of them. If you're interested in any of them and want more of my thoughts, go check out the vlogs or leave a comment down below, and I'd be happy to chat with you. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.